Okay, so you knew eventually I'd get out a glue gun. This is to make these little fascinators, and this is one that's kind of cute. It has a button on it and some feathers and a little bit of tulle and part of a flower, silk flower. This one has some leaves and part of a flower and a really fancy old button and more flower parts, some tulle, some shredded up weird stuff, and some kind of curled feathers. And so this is what we're going to make. And to do it we need a base, and so I have a clip, an alligator clip such as you can buy at the craft store, and I've cut 2 teardrop shapes, which it can be any shape. One has 2 slits in it, and what I'm going to do is poke this through here, and then I'm going to try to get a little bit of glue underneath there, and then I'm going to attach another piece to the top. So this is the hardest part, is just getting a little glue under there without going nuts and getting it all over everything. Try to get the extra on your felt and not on your, not all over your clip, all over the teeth of your clip, because you want it to look pretty clean under there. But I think it's important that this be there. It helps it stay together. And it also helps put a little buffer between. This hinge can be pretty tight on hair or on a lapel. And you can clip these also to a Christmas tree, which is kind of a cute thing, if you make it look like an ornament. So now I'm just going to put glue everywhere on here. Just going to glue these together, and that'll take a minute or two to set up, and in the meantime I'm going to make a plan. And I searched and searched when I was making these for black flowers, and then I found them a long time after, so I bought some. And you just need to pull your flowers apart and get it down to pieces that you want to use, however you decide you want to do it. And I think it's nice to have some greenery. These are all pulled apart flowers. So I think I might just go ahead and start with these. So I'm just going to glue down. And then if I put another one on top, it's going to be a pretty handy place to tuck stuff. You end up with ends of stuff you want to tuck somewhere. So I think I'm just going to glue this in the center for now, and then I can tuck stuff in there, and then I can glue down the leaves more later. We have little bits of light cardboard to use anytime that it's helpful to smear your glue a little bit. So now I've got this, and then I have to decide. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to rebuild part of this flower. See if I can do it with just these 2 parts. See, and then I can do that, and I can get that shape. I want it a little more elaborate, so here's what I'm going to do. Because I really want this thing to stay together. Even if someone wears it out on New Year's, they may lose it, but I don't want it to fall apart on them. And I'm going to push this through here. And while that glue in there is still hot, I'm going to pinch this and create a little baby rose, which, you know, I could have just used the big rose. My pin is like this, so pin it onto a lapel like that. You could pin it either down from the top on your head or going up. And then to do it, I want some black feathers, and I've got tons of stuff around it. Let's see if any of these are nice. So I'm going to cut a piece of this. And so just hunt around your craft room or get several friends together and have them all bring little bits of interest. So this, I find this works pretty good if you put a little glue in there. This is one, you have to be careful. It's pretty easy with some of these things to kind of burn your fingers, which I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna try to avoid that and squish this together with one of these pieces of cardboard. Because I just want a little thing like this. The glue is starting to cool, so I can kind of twist it. And I want to make a little thing that I'm going to like the shape of. It needs more glue. This thing that I'm using sheds glitter, apparently. I'm going to glue that there. And I think I'm going to glue that there. And I need to prepare my feathers. I don't like the way this part of the feather looks, but this is kind of neat, and so you could strip this off. Good to have your garbage can nearby when you're stripping feathers because they're kind of a mess. You can find craft feathers that have been sanitized. I think you can sanitize them. I just have tried to stick with ones that are sanitized. So you can make these little guys, and you can even shape that with your scissor if you want, but I'm just going to make that. This one has a problem, so I'm actually going to strip this off. And you see how it just strips down the length of that. And if it really bothered me to have that be a little bit tan like that, I could go down that with a Sharpie. Now, I'm not sure I like that one. We'll see. Because we're not trying to make something where every little part of it is the star. We're trying to build up something that is cool and everything works together. I really do kind of not like that. I think I'm going to leave that. One of the things I like about this is it's almost a little nod toward millinery hat making, and I like that. Fascinators are more popular in cities than they are here, but I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to have a little bit of fun. So I'm just going to glue this in here and try not to hurt myself too much with the glue. And then I'm going to try to put in a couple of these big things. As I said, I really kind of wish my daughter didn't make such a mess when she uses my glue gun, but I'm glad that she makes crafts, so I let her. Okay, so I've got this, and I think it's getting kind of cute. I need to get a spoon. I wanted to make sure and show you the neat thing about feathers, who knew this, is you can curl them and you do it with a spoon. Of course, I learned that on YouTube. And be careful because you can actually hurt yourself with some of these stiff. This is some kind of a stripped feather that is. I read up on this stuff a lot when I was doing this, but it's been a while now. So you do that and you get this nice little curl, and that's fun. And then, oops, you want it to break now and not when somebody's fallen in love with the shape. You know, so you get that to curl. I've always loved like curled ribbon, and so I just love that this is basically a similar kind of thing. Now I can just leave these like this, and they're pretty neat. And I guess I tend to curl them sort of the same. I think this is pretty neat like that. For another look, you can actually take this and tie it in knots. And this isn't that delicate. I knew that had a weak spot. But so you can see these little guys that you can tie in there. And so that's one look you can do. And you can add that element to your fascinator, and I like to do those a lot, but this is also neat, and it just depends. I'm kind of liking the knots, and so I think I'm going to knot these, and I'm going to hook those in there and see what I can accomplish. So I'm getting to the point here where I'm going to have to stop, and so I should have sort of an end game. You don't have to use stuff the way that it is. Of course, you can trim it. Like I say, I use a lot of glue. Okay, so here's what I've got. So it's not always pretty when you're making these, but until they're done, and then they're usually pretty. So then, you know, it's just a matter of how you want to finish it off. That would be nice. So I'm going to just do a cluster of buttons to finish mine off. And as you work, you know, any place you have visible blobs of unacceptable glue, you want to plan to fix those as you go. And so, you know, you might end up doing stuff just to cover a problem. So I'm going to glue that there. But I've got the most awkward working setup here. Oh, and that's something else I should talk about real quick. As you're building it, try to make sure that however you place things, that you have a nice grip on this alligator clip. Here's my piece, and I think it has a lot to recommend it. But it has this thing that I tend to do. I think it's my age. Because I'm in my early 50s, and my daughter is 16, and so I know that my stuff always seems old to her, and my fascinators often turn out to be pretty corsagey, which is a derogatory term. And so what I'm going to do is put that off to the side. And this is a spike that you can buy for decorating. And it's a little ratty looking right now. So what I'm going to do is cut it off with a wire cutter. And then I played with this earlier, and originally I was going to do this, but everything gets lost and I want it to show, and so I'm going to do this. And I have, remember how I left those two leaves so that they weren't very well glued together? I'm going to shove this in there and glue it in there like this. And then this will be my piece. So, and I want to really load that up with glue, because I don't want that guy to come out. So I'm really putting a lot of glue in there.